Hi, everybody. Because I know there are a lot of constructs in this chapter, and they're constructs that we'll come back to more than once over the course of this semester, I thought I would borrow a little bit from the book that I've sometimes used for the motivation course and talk to you about some of those ideas divided up the way Wenzel and Brophy do, talking about beliefs about ability, causality, and control. Let's see if we can make this turn. There we go. All right. Things that have to do with ability obviously say, do I have the ability? Can I do this thing? And whether or not I believe I can do the thing influences how motivated I'm going to be to do it. Obviously, if I don't think I can do it, why would I do it, right? One of the models that's in your book that reflects this kind of idea is the expectancy times value idea. And the formula is the expectancy times the value is going to equal the effort that's going to be put forth. So expectancy says, do I expect to be able to do it? Can I do this thing? And value, it's very simply put, says, do I value the goal? This thing that I'm thinking about doing, is it worth doing to me? And what I think is interesting about this model is the idea that it's multiplication. And if either one of these things is 0, there's going to be no effort, which makes a lot of sense. If I don't think I can do it, I'm not going to do it. If I don't think it has any value, I'm not going to do it. But if I have a reasonable expectancy that I can do the thing and I value the thing, well, then I'm going to have more motivation. This can be looked at in a couple of different ways, looking at high value and low value, and looking at high expectancy and low expectancy. And I'll bet you can envision these. If I have high value and high expectancy, I'm right at it. I'm ready to tackle the challenges. I'm ready to make sense of the activity. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do the thing. If I have high expectancy, but I don't really value it, I don't see any point. I go through the motions. I'm going to be distracted. And I suspect we've all found ourselves in that position where I can do this assignment, I can clean this house, but do I really want to when the cats are going to shed all over it? Anyway, I don't know, maybe. I say that as a cat is approaching me. If I have low expectancy, if I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, but I value it, I might pretend I know what I'm doing. I might kind of act like I might want to do it, but I don't get very far because I don't really think I'm going to be able to do it. And sometimes when we're looking at students, it's really important to sort through which of these things is happening. If the student really values it but they're not moving on it, and we start saying, well, don't you understand how important this is? This is going to be on your test, or whatever other silly thing we might say. It's not going to help if the problem is that the student doesn't really believe he or she can do it. And of course, if students have low expectancy of success and they don't value it, things are not going to go well. They could be passive, they could be angry, they don't even care enough to pretend that they value it. Not likely to be a successful learning experience. So, another construct that has to do with do I believe I can do it is self-efficacy, and that's going to show up again later in the course as well. Self-efficacy is quite specific. How confident am I that I can do the thing, whatever the thing is? I love this picture of this bird who apparently is quite confident that that nut is going to be within its grasp soon. Self-efficacy is not a global statement. So I can say I have a fair amount of self-efficacy around my ability to bake bread. I even have a fair amount of self-efficacy around my ability to write books, at least the kinds of books that I know anything about. I have very little self-efficacy regarding my ability to hit a baseball, or actually to do any other sport that has a round object as part of it. So why is that? We develop self-efficacy through a number of things. The most powerful is mastery experiences. We've done the thing before successfully, or we've done things approaching the thing successfully. I've baked a lot of bread, so I have a fair amount of confidence in my ability to bake bread because I've done it a lot over the years. I've written a number of books, so even though that's a pretty big thing, and at the beginning I wasn't at all sure I felt confident in my ability to do it, at this point, having had a number of mastery experiences, it works. I have self-efficacy regarding my ability to write books. Baseball, no. I have had many unsuccessful experiences trying to do that, and thus I'm unlikely to move forward with any efforts anymore to try to learn to hit a baseball. Vicarious learning can also help us gain self-efficacy. If I watch somebody very similar to me become successful at the thing, it can improve my self-efficacy as well. So let's think about my pathetic baseball efficacy. If I go and watch a baseball game, a professional baseball game, and I watch those guys hit the ball, is that going to help me? Not much, because I don't perceive them as being very much like me. I would need to watch somebody who was a terrible baseball player. And if I watched them be coached and succeed, that might improve my self-efficacy. Verbal persuasion, that is, you can do it, can help self-efficacy, but it's not anywhere near as persuasive as the other two. And emotional arousal as another source of self-efficacy is a physiological trait. If I feel myself really anxious and my heart is pounding and I'm breathing hard, that does not help my self-efficacy. So having the optimal amount of emotional arousal, being interested and attentive and focused but not terrified, is also helpful. We can learn more about that as time goes on, but at least that's the basic. Self-determination theory is a really important theory of motivation, and it looks at intrinsic motivation, saying, what is it that allows me to determine for myself I want to do this thing outside of external, extrinsic rewards? And self-determination theory looks at three sources of information, of influence. Competence, that is, I feel myself getting better. If I feel myself getting better, I am more likely to want to do it. And my little asterisk here is, I think one of the most important things we can do is actually help people be competent. Just saying you can do it is not anywhere near as powerful, as we just learned from self-efficacy, as actually helping them become more competent. Autonomy has to do with choice. If I feel as if I'm doing this thing because I'm choosing to do it, as opposed to somebody forced me to do it, I'm more likely to want to do it. And relatedness has to do with feeling as if I'm in a community where people are supporting me in the choices I'm making to do the things I'm doing. Again, this is a very, very quick explanation just to try to give you an auditory version of some of these concepts, but I'll bet you can envision how this could operate in a school classroom if people become more competent, if they have some choices about their learning, and if they're in an environment in which the relationships are supportive, they're more likely to be motivated. Beliefs about causality is, how much control do I have? Can I do this? Or, as Calvin says, if anything bad happens, it's not my fault. It's definitely fate. We're going to talk some more about these in another unit as well, but I'll bet a lot of you have heard about Carol Dweck and the mindset theory because it's kind of a hot topic right now. It has to do with how much do I believe that the characteristics I want are things that can be developed. Do I believe, for example, that my academic ability or my intelligence is fixed? I've got what I've got. Other people have more, they might have less, but whatever we've got, we're stuck. As opposed to believing in a growth mindset that the attributes that we have can be influenced and that we can grow in them. Those are really important constructs that are also part of motivation theory. Causal attributions, that is, attribution theory basically says, what's causing this thing to happen? What's causing me to succeed or what's causing me to not so much succeed? And is this something that's stable? That is it going to happen again? So did this happen because I'm not good at it or because I was just in a bad mood? The locus. Was it internal factors or external factors? Am I not good at this? Or was this just a really hard problem? And can I control it? Do I believe that I can change through my effort? Or do I believe it was luck? You can easily envision that effort and persistence are going to be greater if I believe it was a hard task and I didn't put forth enough effort, as opposed to believing I just am not smart enough and it was bad luck. One of the things that people write about a lot is basic attribution errors, where we can attribute success to the wrong thing. And sometimes we can do this in ways that are kind of humorous. I know in sports teams, if your team wins, it's because they were very good, they had a lot of skill, and we know they've got the ability and they're going to do great next time. If they lose, either somebody cheated, it was a bad day, the air pressure was too bad. We can put all kinds of attributions to explain away lack of success when really there might have been a skill or effort or even mood at play. Oh, and this is my fundamental attribution error cartoon. Because it's kind of blurry, I'll read it to you. Calvin says, "I've concluded that nothing bad I do is my fault." "Oh," says his dad. "Right. Being young and impressionable, I'm the helpless victim of countless bad influences." I can't even read it myself. "A wholesome culture powers to my undeveloped values pushes me to," I can't even read it, "malfeasance." There we go. "I take no responsibility for my behavior," etc., etc. His dad says, "You need to build character. Go shovel the walk." And Calvin says, "These discussions never go where they're supposed to." It made me chuckle. And just couple of more quick things before my recording time runs out. Achievement goal theory talks about, are we going for a performance? Do we have a performance goal, which basically says, I want to look good, I want to get a reward, I want to have something that says I'm good, even if I'm not necessarily good? Or are we going for mastery? And performance or mastery goals can be something we're working to approach or we're trying to avoid failure. So in a performance goal, the approach version says, I want to appear competent. I want to look good. Doesn't really matter if I am good as long as I look good. A performance goal that's an avoidance goal is, I don't want to look dumb. I don't want to do anything that's going to make me look foolish, so I'm going to avoid this circumstance if I think I'm going to look foolish. Mastery goals are much more powerful because they say, I want to actually be able to do the thing. I want to become competent. I want to master it. And people with that perspective, I want to run faster, I want to do more, I want to do math, are much more likely to become competent. My recording time is up. So I will stop here.